one of the other things that I think is important to note, and it's just the fact that we had a lot of new quarterbacks here in the Big 12 playing on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So let's dive into that. The new quarterbacks in the Big 12 were plentiful. I'm Pete Mundo, Heartland College Sports. Make sure you are subscribed right now. So you want to look at some of the guys who were playing quarterback on Thursday, Friday, Saturday? There were a lot of great stories. I just mentioned Devon Dampier. Can we talk about Bear Bachmeier at BYU? My gosh, this dude is a stud, man. True freshman, number 47, which still throws me off a little bit. Every time I'm like, oh, is there a fullback under center for beat? Nope, that's Bachmeier. I had to get used to it. I was watching the game on ESPN Plus against Portland State. And once again, it's Portland State. BYU wins 69-0. But I couldn't help but just love this kid. I couldn't help but sit there and say, I could watch this guy play football every Saturday for the next 4 years and not be bored at all. Okay? I mean, he had pretty good touch for a true freshman, 7 of 11, 100 yards, 3 touchdown passes. He wasn't asked to do a ton through the air. And then he also used his legs very effectively, especially down in the red zone. He was really good when they needed him down there in the red zone. Rushed for a couple of scores. Once again, 5 carries, 32 yards, but some big carries. And he ran the ball down in the red zone like a 2 or 3 year pro, like a veteran. He waited for his guys on the line to develop the blocks. He ran behind his guys. He put his shoulder down. He wasn't afraid. I was like, this was the right pick for BYU based on what I saw on Saturday in a small sample size. He didn't look like a true freshman out there, even against lesser competition. Some guys are just going to look like true freshmen out there, and I didn't think that Bear Bachmeier for BYU looked like a true freshman at all. And that was so impressive to watch. And that was really the main takeaway from BYU in a blowout of Portland State. Meantime, you look at some of the other new faces. Weigman at Houston in a win over Stephen F. Austin. That was a really good showing. Once again, lesser competition, but for a Houston program that really didn't have a guy last year one under Willie Fritz, who could get the ball down the field, who was an accurate passer. You didn't have it with Donovan Smith. You didn't have it with Chris. You just didn't have it with those guys. At least it looks like you've got a chance to have it with Weigman. And that's the big takeaway if you're a Houston fan, because you think the defense can be pretty darn good. It certainly had its moments last year, but you didn't have the offensive firepower you needed. You get in the transfer. There was a lot of talk about him all offseason, and at least for 1 week, he looked like he could be ultimately that dude for Houston as they try to make that leap and make that next jump in the Big 12, get the bowl eligibility, and then be in competition eventually for a Big 12 championship game appearance. Now, the other new faces you saw Kaidon Salter for Colorado. I was really impressed with the Liberty transfer. That first touchdown pass in particular, he's rolling out to his right. He's throwing into traffic in the corner of the end zone, but he's got, a quick release. He's got, he's got a lot on that ball. That ball just zips right out of his hands for a guy that doesn't look that big. He moves well. He sees the field well, and he had some great plays on Saturday. At times, I kind of thought like I was watching Shedeur Sanders. He actually looked like somebody who at times was trying to do too much. And that's okay. That's, quarterback, new place, first game, first time in front of that home crowd. But there were times I'm like, Kaden, just pocket this thing, take the sack, get rid of it, throw it out of bounds. Shedeur would do that sometimes, and it would turn into like, a 20-yard loss, or it would turn into, an interception, God forbid. Don't try to do too much. Don't try to over-impress. But I was really impressed with Kaidon Salter and what I saw from him in that loss on Friday night to Georgia Tech. And then also got to talk about Hoss Haney out of Oklahoma State. Oh, my goodness. Oklahoma State beats UT Martin by 20. Haney gets injured in the game. But before he got injured, I'm watching Haney, and I'm like, is this the best quarterback Mike Gundy's had since Brandon Weeden? It was unbelievable. The guy was quick as could be. I didn't realize how quality of a dual threat player he was. He's throwing, rolling out to his left across his body with incredible accuracy. And I'm watching this. And, as someone who's obviously not there in camp watching Haney battle Zane Flores, I'm like, holy smokes. Mike Gundy may have just found, a great quarterback for the next couple of years that puts him back in Big 12 competition. And then he breaks his foot. And now he's out for 5 weeks. Now, Flores looked pretty good. But honestly, I was so enamored with Haney. It was difficult to watch Flores and just not put him in comparison to Haney. And that's not fair to Flores because Flores played pretty well. Now, playing pretty well against UT Martin for both guys is not the same as going to Oregon next weekend. That being said, still, it was such an emotional blow to see Haney come out the way he came out, then watch him get hurt and try to fairly evaluate Flores. It's just not fair to Flores. But it's clear that, if Haney can get back healthy sooner rather than later, Mike Gundy may have the guy that he needs at that position for years to come. And then the other new face that we saw was Tav Jackson at UCF. He, of course, replaced the starter who just did not look any good. And Jackson was better. I don't think UCF's going to be any good. I have been down on UCF. I think they're going to be at the bottom of the Big 12. Not that that's a shock to anybody. Even the biggest UCF homer was not going to say this team would have been competitive. But Tav Jackson should have probably gotten the start from the get-go over Cam Fancher. And you saw Jackson with some dual threat ability. But, the problem that continued to come back to for UCF is like that defense. I know it's Jacksonville State and they only gave up 10 points. But when you watch the game, UCF just looked small to me out there. They didn't look like a team that was going to be ready for the big time. And they'll basically go as far as Miles Montgomery will take them. But I would stick with Tav Jackson. I would not go any further than saying, if I'm Scott Frost, Tav Jackson's my guy, and that's it. So of all these Big 12 quarterbacks, there is real potential for this league to go back to being a quarterback league after spending the last couple of seasons as more of a running back league. But the new faces, Dampier, Bachmeier, Salter, Weigman, these guys looked really good in their games throughout the last couple of days. And it was a lot of fun to watch them play out and really see them make their first starts with each of their Big 12 teams. I'm Pete Mundo on Heartland College Sports. Please make sure right now you are subscribed to the video. We appreciate you being here. We cover the Big 12 Conference. And if you want Big 12 news, information, coverage, Heartland College Sports is the place to be.